Nicholas Negroponte, an MIT graduate and pioneer in the field of computer-aided design, believes that this is the beginning of understanding that cyberspace has no limits, no boundaries. His organization, One Laptop Per Child, has a mission to empower the world's poorest children through education. It provides each child a rugged, low-cost, low-power connected laptop. Meet Sunny Saintulai. He doesn't care about creating the iPad killer. He cares about the 3 billion people who can afford this device. As an engineering graduate from the University of Toronto, he uses technology to empower people, creating the cheapest tablet in the world at $37 per unit. He tries to make internet accessible to everyone. This is Salman Khan. He's also one of the leaders in global education. He created a free online education platform which offers videos and tutorials to students all around the world. It reached up to 24 million views. So what do these people have in common? Well, they're connecting people and empowering individuals to join the globalized culture of today by providing them with education through the use of technology. Globalization can be simplified and defined as the widening, intensifying, speeding up, and growing impact of worldwide interconnectedness. According to Thomas Friedman, globalization can be divided into 3 periods: globalization of countries, globalization of companies, and globalization of individuals. The globalization of the individual, which is taking place right now, is driven by the available technology and networks that allow anyone around the world to access global information and freely express themselves. We live in a world of 1.06 billion Facebook users, 200 million Twitter users, a world of 634 million websites, where education is easy, information is mobile, sharing is expression, and interconnectedness is everywhere. We also live in a world of poverty, a world of unfairness, and inequality. Despite the opportunities that are provided by the web and other modern technologies, these are not available to everyone, creating a gap between the populations in the world. Jimmy Carter established the gap by saying that globalization is defined by rich people like us as a very nice thing. You're talking about the internet, you're talking about cell phones, and you're talking about computers. But it doesn't affect 2/3 of the people in the world. And so there's 2.4 billion internet users around the world right now, which is a huge number. But if put into perspective, it is only equivalent to 34.3% of the world's population. Doesn't seem that big anymore. Therefore, it seems pretty unfair that 65.7% of the world's population does not have access to the internet. So globalization, which we earlier defined as the widening, intensifying, and speeding up of worldwide interconnectedness, may need to be further broken down to understand the root of the gap, and in essence, the cause of the problem. Let's focus on the global aspect of globalization. The term global can be defined as something that involves the entire world. Global means being comprehensive, all-inclusive, and complete. Therefore, it defines things as a whole. The 3-world model is helpful in identifying the 3 different categories by which the world can be divided in. The first world, in the green, is made up by the developed countries such as the United States, Western Europe, Australia. The second world represents communist and socialist industrial states such as Russia, China, Eastern Europe. And finally, you have the third world in the red, which is the poorest areas in the world and are considered the developing countries. These are Africa, Asia, and Latin America. These categories are evident in the living conditions and incomes of those on either side of the gap. In the third world, over 5 billion people, which is 80% of the world's population, earns less than $10 per day. On the other hand, the average American who typically has a white-collar job can earn more than $87 per day. This is not global. This map, provided by the International Telecommunications Union in 2010, provides an evident color gradient representative of the unequal internet access amongst the countries in the world, and this is not global. The educational distribution amongst the world's states can be represented by the secondary school net enrollment data by UNICEF. This map, not surprisingly and most clearly, represents the gap in the educational levels that characterize each of the world's nations. This is not global. Looking at the world's nations from 3 different perspectives allows us to identify the one thing that they all have in common. Putting the dots together makes it clear that the poorest nations have the least internet access and the lowest educational levels, which is also not global. To achieve a true global status, we need change. But where do we start with such a huge gap? We need something powerful. We need education. Nelson Mandela once claimed that education was the most powerful weapon that can be used to change the world. In fact, the second of the 8 Millennium Development Goals by the UN is to achieve universal primary education. These goals aim to galvanize unprecedented efforts to meet the needs of the world's poorest. Education is a key factor in achieving the Millennium Development Goals. Education provides opportunities and freedom. It helps people grow, learn about justice and equality. It improves survival rates as well as the quality of life and health. Education allows people to think about the future and work together, which is essential for developing and allowing communities to progress. Like Kofi Annan once said, knowledge is power, information is liberating, education is the premise of progress in every society and in every family. In fact, studies show that 1 extra year of schooling increases an individual's earnings by up to 10%. There is no doubt that education is the key to progress, development, and growth. It creates opportunities to allow individuals and communities to prosper. Therefore, we need to educate the children of our world. And we need more people like this who bring global innovation to embrace education through modern practices, such as technology. Because after all, education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself, as John Dewey once said.